Hello, welcome to our last class about the past. Let's talk about the order of events. So I've just been out on a bike ride, and when I arrived home, a bird flew into my house. Actually, none of this is true. Well, I have just been on a bike ride, but I never open my windows as I have a mechanical ventilation system, so no birds could ever fly into my house. But let's say that this did happen. Everything here is in the past. We've got 4 or 5 sentences from A, B, C, D. Let's start with A. When I arrived home, a bird flew into my house. So 2 things happened. What happened first? Yes, I arrived home. That happened first, and then the second thing, a bird flew into my house. Those are both past simple, order of events. I arrived home, it flew into my house. B. When I arrived home, a bird was flying into my house. So, at or around the moment when I arrived, a bird was flying into my house. So the order of events is, it started to fly into my house, I arrived, and then it continued to fly into my house, possibly. Or maybe it changed its mind. But it was already in the process of doing that at the moment when I arrived. C. When I arrived home, a bird had flown into my house. So when I arrived, that's past simple. Had flown, that's past perfect. Or past perfect simple, but I'll only call it the past perfect. So the order of events here is number 1, the bird flew into my house, and then number 2, I arrived home. So we use the past perfect to talk about something in the past which happened before something else in the past. So if you take from the present, if you take one step back into the past, you've got the past simple, I arrived, and one step further back into the past, it had flown into my house. D, we've got the past perfect continuous. So when I arrived home, a bird had been flying into my house. So maybe repeatedly. So over a period of time, the first thing which happened was a bird flew into my house, and then out, and then in, and then out, and then in, and then out, etc. And then at some stage later on, I arrived home. Or we could say when I arrived home, a bird had been flying inside my house. So the first event was the bird was flying inside my house. So here we've got focus on the duration over the period of time that it took. And then I arrived home. The weird thing about German is that although in German you could say geflogen hatte, the reality is that for most German speakers, you would just say geflogen hat. And as you would use geflogen hat in the same position as where we use the past simple, basically in German you've got one form which covers our past simple, past continuous, past perfect and past perfect continuous, and you end up having to use words like schon, already, or whatever. What a useless language, eh? Nah, I'm joking. Or am I? Okay, let's have another example. I went to visit some friends. Okay, this isn't true, but I'm not going to change my examples just because of the current lockdown. Anyway, my friends offered me some food, but I didn't have any because I had already eaten. So the first thing which happened was I ate some food, then I went to visit my friends and they offered me some food and I said no. Okay? So I had already eaten. That was the past before the past. Okay, one step back in the past. In this example, in some forms of spoken English, especially in America, people would just say, they offered me some food, but I didn't have any because I already ate. If it's clear, you can get away with doing that. I'm not sure if that would be used so much in formal written American English, but you hear that a lot in America and sometimes in Britain as well. But in general, it's better to use the past perfect when it's needed. For example, with my example with the bird flying into my house, then you could see there was a difference in meaning. Okay. With this class, I haven't designed any exercises because you know the design of the exercises already, and I'm just really tired right now. Sorry. Okay, so here's my final message. Right, I wish you a good week off for Whitsuntide, and our next class will be a video on or around the 9th of June. See you then.